tell me the logistics
Okay.
of this game that we're here.
Okay, so
What are we doing?
here's how we do it. So
Yeah.
if you can move up to where you'll be about that close.
Okay.
And is that, let me just set this like that. Okay, so now once this is set,
Okay.
we don't touch this. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So when you want to talk to me, you just talk to me.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to Mark, you either talk to him this way,
Okay.
okay, or you pivot,
Okay.
okay. But the only thing you can't do that.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
So
Okay.
you just pretend you're
Okay.
kind of connected like this.
Okay. Okay.
And you'll tell because when you put the go ahead and put the headphones on. Okay. All right. So you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you get a little closer to the mic.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Now pivot. See what it sounds like.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
No, you can't do that, right?
Okay.
You have to pretend that you're connected here, and you just kind of go like that. That's if you want to say something to him.
I see. Okay.
See how that works? See,
Yes.
see if I go like this and you can't hear me,
Then-
I can't do that because I have to practice it.
Okay.
So that's really the only rules. And if you have to cough or anything, just kind of like that.
Perfect.
Which sometimes I have to do.
Who else is coming?
It's just us.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Excuse me. Okay.
cold.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I got to, went to spring training. I was starting to feel a little not so good. Still got my voice thing here. And then I got my hand surgery and it didn't work out well. And I got to go back Monday. It's like,
It didn't work out well. Oh my God.
This one worked out. Yeah, this one 5 years ago was great. He took a big, thick knife, lots of blood and everything. It was great. This one, he decided to do like a little thing like this, and he just more aggravated it. And it hurts like, I got what they call trigger fingers. So I said, get in there with a hatchet and just,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I need him to do.
So this is not live.
No.
So we can stop. Is that the idea?
Well,
or you will just go. Tell me
we-
maybe what are
okay,
the
so-
logistics of today?
Okay.
Yeah, it's not live, although I'll tell you, we've almost never in years had to go back and redo anything. So we
Okay.
normally don't stop, even if you flub up a little bit. We just keep going because
Okay.
It's very
this
relaxed.
type of
tell
this
me.
type of weekend radio show. There's lots of 1 hour radio shows on the weekend
Okay.
in San Francisco on various stations, and
Okay.
they're informative radio stations. So
Yeah.
it's the better ones. I think are ones like what we do, where there's just people communicating, talking, having a conversation, as opposed to one guy just talking for an hour about
Something.
vitamins or investing or whatever, something. So.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're not planning. We never plan on going back and say, oh, can I do that again? Can we stop? Because if we stop, we have to do the entire
Exactly.
I hear
12
you.
minutes
Okay,
all over again,
I
and
wasn't
I actually
sure.
have to leave at 5. So
Yeah, that's
that
why
would not be a good thing to like get
Yeah.
halfway through a segment and then decide we're going to re-record it. So
Okay.
And you have,
so we'd rather not.
okay,
that
good.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, it's just and
It's very lighthearted.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's
I mean,
just
other
like
than,
what
other
you're
than
talking
we're
about.
recording our conversation,
Yeah.
it's just a conversation. So
Okay.
we did used to do it live, and it was very intimidating. So
It's okay because sometimes we'd have callers, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But here, there's no one to call
Right.
in, so we
Okay.
don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I have, when you see me kind of, I'll go like this. I have to give them 5 seconds of silence, so that when I send it to the studio and they put it together, they just have to kind of splice it together.
Got it. Okay.
Then we have silence there. And then if you see me kind of go like this, like that, don't stop, but just know that we've got to wrap it up and cut to a commercial break. Because we're gonna do 4 different segments here.
Okay.
We'll spend like one major segment on you, and then you can feel free to stick around if you want while we're talking about other things. And again, it's just a bunch of friendly people enjoying themselves.
Okay.
So there's the YouTube there. Just
Okay.
don't swear.
I'll try. I'll really try.
Those clothes, those darn
You should have
clothes.
seen Edward's closet.
Yeah. Yes, that'll make people swear.
Yeah.
So did you hire Susanna?
Yeah. Eva met Suzanne.
Yeah.
Susanna.
Yeah.
I got it right. Sure, I got it right.
Yeah.
Susanna. And the way I was going to introduce you was Susana Percik to discuss business success with clothes.
Great.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Then
That
we've got.
works.
So let's figure out, Mark. Okay. Actually, I'll say here this. The company. Style rescue.
We don't have to go back and forth on it. We can just I'm happy to start
Okay.
if you want.
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah, we just gotta bounce around with it.
yeah, I like. Sometimes it's fun to bounce around. Sometimes I might come up with a question that's different from what you have.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not trying to
So.
catch you.
No,
No, just because
it's okay.
I might think of something that I think might be interesting.
Sure, yeah. I'm
All right.
excited when I will answer.
Okay. Good. Smile for the camera. We used to have a videographer here, but he can't make
Something
it.
happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he had a skiing accident.
Right, yeah.
Poor Kramer.
How's he doing now?
Okay, he's talking now. he was having a yeah, he had
He broke his jaw.
he didn't break it, but major this and he major on his arm because he hit a tree. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was kidding around with him and I looked at him and I go, Kramer, you really hurt yourself. Oh yeah, you know. But then by the time I saw him, he was a little bit better. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, so.
Introduction here.
Do you know what question you're gonna ask first, or should we?
Yeah, Mark's gonna probably
Okay,
ask you what
all right.
a style ask you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably go. I mean, maybe we'll follow the trend, but we'll kind of see.
Yeah. Again, it'll be kind of easy.
Okay,
Yeah,
you got it. Okay.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, let's make it fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
fun. You want to put your headphones on? That way you'll know, if you accidentally.
Yeah, that way you can hear yourself.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of nice because that way you can kind of tell, what you're going to sound like on the radio.
Yeah.
And
Say, don't worry. There's only millions of people who listen.
I'm ready.
millions of ants that listen.
Okay, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910. I'm your host, Edward Brown. I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hahn of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms.
Indeed.
Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during this show. Now, the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. Those vacations are free. Their only request, a $100 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. Become so popular, they had to raise the price on that. And today's trivia theme, you're going to like this one, James Bond. James.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
It'll be fun. You might get a couple of these ones. Okay, our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on television, Comcast Channel 26 and AT&T Channel 99. Saturdays at noon, Sundays at 6 p.m. Today's special guest is Susana Percik to discuss business success with clothes. I did say
with through clothes.
Yeah, and not without clothes, but with clothes. And her company is called Style Rescue. And the reason that we've had her on here is because she's, my wife actually hired her for herself. And then when they looked at my closet, they both screamed and said, "We got to help this young man." So we had Susana help me too. And now I'm successful. Okay? Susana, welcome to The Best of Investing.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Hey, Susana, so what is Style Rescue and what do you do to help your clients?
So Style Rescue is the Bay Area personal styling and wardrobe consulting firm. And what I do with my clients, I help them align their personal image with their personal brand. And what I mean by that is just like these days you hire a personal trainer because you want to get in better shape, you hire a nutritionist, or you have even an accountant that takes care of your finances.
Yeah.
You hire somebody like me to help you find, define, or refine your style.
Oh, so you're kind of like a coach, which I know I have a business coach and I have a personal trainer who's my health coach, and your doctor, of course, is also your health coach. So it sounds like you're just another part of the coaching team for success.
Exactly.
All right, okay.
Yes.
Is that the old dress for success type of attitude?
Yeah, because I really believe that what you wear matters. It's really an image. It's your brand.
Well, if I remember correctly, you were on the front page of the IJ. There was an article written, and you were helping some of the attorneys in the courtroom or down at the Civic Center, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So how do you determine, or how do you help someone determine what their personal brand is and what it looks like?
Well, it's by understanding what the person does, understanding their lifestyle, and also by looking at their colors and their shape. Because especially your colors are gonna, the colors of your skin, your eyes, and your hair, you're really gonna determine what are the best colors that you want to put on.
Okay, so like someone like me with my dark hair and all that, I'm usually more like navy blue rather than camel color.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
See?
I gotta say, before we move on here, Susana, I'm so glad that you're helping Edward because I keep thinking back to when we went on that cruise together, Edward, and you came out
In the Speedos?
You know,
Oh, no.
well, you know those old pictures of basketball players from the 80s where they wore those really
Shorts.
short shorts, and Edward comes out in his gym shorts, and they're like that, and I'm just like, I don't think I want to know this guy.
Well, since then, Susana helped me because when we went to Europe, that's where my messenger bag came from.
Your purse.
My purse, yeah.
Yes. I saw Edward and I said, you can't go like that to Europe. I'm not gonna allow you. And Ava was, thank you.
Yeah.
So Susana, what's the process that you take your clients through once they hire you? Do you like go in their closet and throw everything on the floor and say, we're starting over again, or of course I'm joking. How do you take us through how you start with your clients?
Sure. So first of all, I always like to start with a call with my clients so I understand what they do, where they're at, and what are some of their issues around dressing. So the first thing I do is I begin in the closet doing a closet audit. And what I mean by that, I will edit your closet. And like what you said, we'll see what it's great and needs to stay, and we'll see what we need to really part ways and say goodbye.
Which, by the way, I was very proud. She let me keep 1% of my clothes. all the stuff with the holes in it had to go, unfortunately.
So we're talking with Susana Percik, owner of Style Rescue, also known as, I'm going to call it Dress for Success. And so, what benefits have your clients received from Style Rescue?
Well, the benefits they've received, are first of all saving money, because once they work with me, their closet it's curated, and they understand what they have and they understand what they need. So instead of going to the mall or even shopping these days online and feeling compelled to buy something because it's on sale or because it looks good or because the sales associate tells you, oh, you should get that. My clients know what are the colors, what are the shapes, what do they need, so they can be very strategic when it comes to buying.
Well, one of the things I really appreciated too, when my wife first said, oh yeah, I'm going to get this lady to help me with, organize my closet. The first thing I'm thinking, oh great, this is going to be expensive and blah blah blah. But actually, what ended up happening was, Eva had enough clothes in there, and a lot of it was just they were nice clothes, but Susana helped her kind of make certain combinations that she hadn't thought of. So rather than just going out and saying, okay, you need to buy X, Y, and Z and ABC, it was like, no, just put A and B together. You know what I mean?
So that's really important. So because, and what you brought up is a great point about saving money, because someone might be listening and thinking, well, sure, if you go buy all your clothes at, let's say, Nordstrom or other expensive fashion, because I know that I can buy a shirt and a shirt might be $50, $60, or it might be $200, and oftentimes I've had both, and sometimes I can't tell the difference. It's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you? So you're not necessarily having your clients go out and buy all new expensive clothes.
Exactly. So I'm not a personal shopper. I'm really an image consultant. So it's in that closet that like Edward said, I'm going to find jewels. I'm going to find things that actually I'm going to give you ideas on how you can mix and match and extend the lifespan of that clothes.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting in this business?
I ended up in this business because I was working at a retail store, so I would see women and men coming with all kinds of issues and belief systems.
Yeah.
One of them was like, I can't find anything, nothing looks good on me, or they would look at me and were like, oh my God, I love what you're wearing. Can you really help me? I want just that. And then I would start working with them, and they were like, oh, no, I don't do short pants, or I cannot wear red. And I started seeing that is not true. Where are these things are coming from? So I started to see that people were really not sure what looks good on them anymore, and they needed an informative eye to really let them know.
Well, I knew I needed help when I started mixing stripes going sideways versus stripes going vertical. I said, no, that doesn't work.
So can you share some tips that maybe our listeners might benefit from about updating our style?
Sure. Well, right now, as we're going into spring, I think it's a great time to really go through your closet, and it's time to say goodbye or separate the fall and winter clothes.
Yeah.
And just keep what you have, what you're gonna start using, which is our lighter weight, lighter colors clothing.
Well, boy, there's a reason they call it spring cleaning, and it's not just for your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then the next thing is like once you take away all the heavy clothes, fall and winter, you can kind of go and see what you have. So that way, next time, like I said, next time you go shopping, you're really very strategic. You say, okay, I really need jackets, or I really need pants that are in this color and this shape, instead of just randomly getting, which most people do the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Same color, same style, same shape.
So it sounds like you'd probably be really helpful to someone who, like I used to be before I moved like 3 times in the last year, but I used to be a packer and I just kept like all my clothes. I didn't want to throw anything away. And then someone told me, well, if you haven't worn it for 6 months, you might as well part with it. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense because, you know, some of these shirts and pants are hardly worn. But so that would be great for someone like you to come in and help me kind of wean through some of that stuff and go, yeah, this is probably not a good color for you, or you shouldn't wear stripes this way, maybe that way, or plaid really doesn't suit you well, or
Yeah, exactly. I see a lot of men also that they hold on to their suiting. And you know, the suits of the 90s and the early 2000s is not the style these days. So I said, you know, you want to be current because it's really just like you, people put energy into the brand of a service or of a product. You need to think the same way with yourself.
See, I figured I'd save my Angels flights and bell bottoms because I figure every 40 years they come back in style.
So what's happening with ties these days?
Good question.
Are they going thinner or wider? And I'm seeing a lot of solid color ties in the stores, but I don't know what's really in fashion these days. I have some old ties. I don't know if I should like part with them or wait until they come back in style.
Where was belt?
No, I think ties are great, and that's part of my service is I like to go not so much with what's in fashion, but really what looks good on you and what you
Makes
feel
sense.
comfortable with.
Yeah.
So you're actually creating a brand, just like we've seen, you know, somebody that likes to wear a bow tie. You know, it's not that it's in fashion, but if it suits you, it feels good, put it on. So,
Tim Lincecum.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only person I can think of at the top of my head. Always likes to wear bow ties.
Very good. Susana, before we get to a break, in case people have questions, they can give you a call. How do they get a hold of you?
Oh, the best way I think is just go to my website. It's stylerescuebayarea.com. It's all together, one word, Style Rescue Bay Area.
Very, very easy to remember.
StyleRescueBayArea.com.
Very good. Okay, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. Before we do, got to make a special mention here again for the Lesher Theater in Walnut Creek. Led Zeppelin tribute band is playing March 26th. Mark and I are going to go. Maybe you can meet us for a drink there. Looking forward to it. Okay, here is our first trivia question about James Bond. What is Agent 007's preferred cocktail? All right, he always says that in a James Bond movie. The first caller with the correct answer wins a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What is 007's preferred cocktail? Don't touch that dial. You're listening to The Best of Investing, and we will be right back. Okay. Wasn't that easy?
That was fun.
Yeah, that was easy.
Any more questions you want to ask her? Or?
Were there any areas that we didn't cover that you might want to that you felt like were important that we
I
might
think
want to touch on?
I think one that is important is why what you wear matters.
Okay.
Because
Let's
people think
finish
that,
off with
well, I
that.
can wear whatever I want, and
Yeah.
you know, Steve Jobs wear that, and things like that. And I want to make sure that you know there are a number of elements of why I believe that it's important.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a good idea to finish up with that one.
If you want.
Yeah, let's finish up with that.
Okay.
First, you have to answer the trivia question. Are you James Bond? Do you watch any James Bond movies?
I have,
Yeah.
yes.
See if you know.
But I don't know
No,
yet.
yes.
I've been thinking,
All right. We'll see.
maybe Martini. maybe I win.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, president of Pacific Private Money. Well, here was our first James Bond trivia question. What is Agent 007's preferred cocktail? Susanna?
Do you have a guess?
I think a martini.
What's the rest of it?
Shaken, not stirred.
That is correct. A combination of the two of you.
But you know, I heard from someone that kind of makes him a little bit of a weenie because when you shake it, it melts the ice and actually makes it weaker than if you just stir it.
Is that right? Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a mixologist, but it makes kind of
That
sense
does
to
make
me.
sense, yeah.
So if you wanted a stronger, manlier drink, you would just have it poured over ice and stirred, not shaken.
Martini, frozen with a cherry. That's me. I like the fruit-free drinks.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to finish up here with Susanna from Style Rescue, who is kind of helping us to do our wardrobe. Question for you: what's one of the major questions that people should be asking you about, like why?
Why what you wear matters?
Yeah.
Yes, they ask me that all the time, especially as business dressing is changing rapidly, and especially in the Bay Area, the casual has gone casual.
Mhm.
So what I tell them that why it matters, it's a number of reasons, and I'll share them with you right now. One is that 93% of our communication is nonverbal.
Yeah.
So just like your body language, your face expression, so what you have on, what you're wearing, it's gonna make an impression.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wearing a skull and crossbones T-shirt, and you're going into court, they're not going to like that too much.
They're not gonna
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
right? It actually takes about 3 seconds for somebody to make an impression of who you are. So if you're dealing with a client, if you're in front of the jury, even if you're on LinkedIn these days or Google, your image is gonna create like a whole story about you.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because something that popped in my head. Also, it works the opposite. There was somebody who wanted to borrow money from us years ago,
Mhm.
and I could tell the what that he was wearing was probably, and this is back in the early '90s. He was wearing about a $5,000 suit, you know, and there was, and when we talked about it afterward, because actually, I was more referring this to a lender,
Yeah.
and the lender didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
Did not like that. There was something very
Something off.
off.
Well, and that's related. That's going to be kind of related to a question I was going to have for Susanna, which is so I have an office in Marin County and we're a private money lender, but we have a lot of clients who want to be investors in our firm because we use private capital to make the real estate loans, and so a lot of people will come visit us who have money to invest, who are looking for maybe alternatives to the stock market,
Yep.
and they walk in our office and we talk about this in our staff meetings all the time. I mean, should we start wearing suits and ties? And I've had people who come in to invest with us saying, if you guys were all wearing suits and ties, I probably would have turned around and walked out because I don't trust people in the Bay Area when they wear full suits or suit and ties. So we're always talking about in the office what type of dress code, if any, we should have. And do you find that to be more true maybe in the Bay Area in this time, in this day and age, that maybe suits aren't not necessarily the most appropriate wardrobe, depending on what your work is and what your goals are?
Definitely. So that's why you really need to understand what's your brand, who's your client, and what do you want to communicate. Because for Steve Jobs, it worked, wearing the jeans and the black turtleneck. But when, for example, if you're a lawyer and you're going into the court, that would not work.
Yeah.
So it's that fine line, but it's really, really powerful.
Wow. Well, again,
Amazing.
Thank you very much, Susana Percik. Again, give out your website one more time.
StyleRescueBayArea.com.
Great. All right. Hang around with us. All right. We're having fun here. Hey, Mark. I'm going to get right into email time.
Great.
Is that okay?
Fire away.
It says here, got an email from a listener that says, how come you can charge, because you've mentioned this before about the interest rates that you charge as a lender, how come you can charge above 10%? I heard something about usury. Doesn't that apply to you?
Good old usury. So
Good old usury.
there are exemptions to the usury law. Well, let me explain what the law of usury or the concept of usury is. Essentially, usury is the term used for an interest rate that is illegal to charge.
Okay.
And in California, that rate is above 10% or 10%. Actually, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know if it's.
I think it's
10
above. I think it's above 10%.
Yeah, I think it's
But again,
above,
check with your attorneys.
Right, exactly. So you're not allowed to loan somebody money and charge them more than 10%, except if you use the services of a licensed real estate broker. So loans that are originated or created by a licensed or through a licensed real estate broker are exempt from usury laws. So we can charge above 10%. We don't often charge above 10%. Although I will say, when I first got into the hard money lending business in the mid 2000s, a 12% hard money loan was pretty common, and a whole bunch of points.
But because the thing is, if you charge, let's say 9.5% and 3 points, then are you still?
Well, now we're talking about an APR, an annual percentage rate calculation based on the true cost of the money. And again, now we're starting to get into legal nuances. And again, not being an actual attorney, I don't want to try and practice law.
And I'm going to guess that the email question was really more forget the points, is that's just the basic interest rate.
Right, and so people will call our company. Probably, on a weekly basis, we get calls from people who want us to document a loan between them and another party that they've already come to an agreement. And oftentimes the rate that lender is asking for is at or above 10%. And so they're smart to use the services of a licensed real estate broker. Now, not all real estate brokers can and will help you prepare a loan, because some licensed real estate professionals are just selling real estate. They're not lending on it. So to be a mortgage broker, it's the same licensing, and a lot of people know that, but not everybody knows that to loan money, to be a mortgage broker, or to be a salesman that sells real estate, it's the same licensing. Now, lately in the last few years, they've added some licensing requirements for mortgage loan originators. So there's this thing called the NMLS license, which a lot of people have heard of. And so if you make residential loans, you have to have that additional licensing. And we have a lot more regulations that govern what lenders like Pacific Private Money are allowed to do. In fact, we can't just lend to anybody we feel like lending to, like we could pretty much 10 years ago.
Yep.
Now the Dodd-Frank regulations have put some restrictions on. Oh yeah, absolutely. But anyway, the usury is not applicable to banks and loans originated through licensed mortgage brokers. So that's a good question.
Good question there. Okay. What do you got for us over here?
I brought this article with me, and actually trying to research the news behind the article was kind of frustrating. And I pulled this out of San Francisco Business Times, and it talks about how Chinese investments in the U.S. real estate market have soared in the past year. And so, you and I are the same age, Edward. You remember in the 90s how real estate prices, particularly in the commercial sector, were going up rapidly.
Yeah.
Cap rates were falling, and a lot of the blame was placed on the Japanese.
Right? Oh yeah, that's right.
The Japanese money at that
that's
time
right.
was coming in.
Same thing with Hawaii.
Right. And you don't hear that much anymore. What you're hearing lately in the last couple of years is all this new wealth created in China, and how the Chinese love to invest in real estate in the United States, and particularly in California. And so anyway, I'll share just some of the numbers, the raw numbers here, and plus the growth rate. So in 2009, Chinese investments in the United States were $4 billion. Well, that doubled to by 2012. Actually, more than tripled to $12 billion. And it was that same number in 13, but then it almost doubled again in 2014 to 22 billion. And last year it was nearly $30 billion spent. And in fact, China, for all of the investors, foreign investors now just in California, China comprises 43% of all foreign buyers of real estate in California.
A lot of Russian buyers too, aren't there?
Here it's followed by Mexico and South Korea at 8%, and then
by 5,000 miles.
And then all others 41%, which I guess would include Russia and Japan and others. I found it interesting that Japan wasn't large enough to be pointed out in this article.
Are their interest rates still close to zero?
Yeah. What I wanted to find out is I tried to Google search what the total of transactions were, so I could have some comparison of what percentage. Because you keep reading all these articles of Chinese buyers are buying up, California real estate or real estate in San Francisco or bidding up the prices of homes in the Bay Area. So I wanted to try to get a kind of a comparison.
Yeah.
Are they buying 10%? Is it
Gotcha.
is Chinese money purchasing? Is it 5%, 10%? Is it 20%? It's probably not that high because they did not give comparative numbers. I couldn't find them, so I got a little frustrated.
Well, I guess what you have to do is figure out all of the transactions and then just take your
Well, and so that's why a story like this, it's kind of almost like one of those if it leads kind of stories, because it's like, well, give me some relationship here in terms of how much and what percentage of real estate transactions are actually being transacted by the Chinese. Don't just throw out a $30 billion number, because for all I know, there could have been $1 trillion worth of real estate transactions
exactly. It's kind of
in
small.
2015. So anyway, that's.
All right, tell you what, we're gonna do a small commercial break here.
Pay some bills.
Do what?
Pay some bills. Pay some bills.
Very good. Okay. Next week we're gonna have another special trivia contest. The winner is going to get. You ready for this? All right, listeners. Adventure Connection has true wine tasting and California whitewater rafting trips. Can you imagine whitewater rafting in combination with wine tasting? That's pretty cool. So we're located 1 hour east of Sacramento near Coloma, and it's class 3, so it's for good, for beginning and experienced paddlers alike. Got to be at least 21 years old because of the wine tasting. And on one day, it's going to be a chauffeured wine tasting, followed by a day of whitewater rafting. Hopefully by then your hangover. No, just kidding. 11 miles of chili bar run, meat grinder, triple threat, and troublemaker rapids make for a very nice whitewater rafting trip. Call Adventure Connection at 800-556-6060 for more details, or visit www.raftcalifornia.com. So here's the question. I'll give you the rules. Who said, where large sums of money are involved, it is advisable to trust nobody? All right? And the rules are, you have to email Edward at bestofinvesting.com the answer by midnight tonight. And from the correct answers, we're going to randomly choose the winner and announce it next week. Please, no previous winners on the Best Investing Trivia Contest. Okay, here's our regular trivia contest question about James Bond. George Lazenby only played Bond in one film in 1969. What was the name of the film that he played James Bond? All right. So again, we all know Sean Connery and Roger Moore, etc.
Yep.
George Lazenby only played Bond in one film, 1969. What was the name of that film? All right. So the answer to that trivia question, the first caller with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. All right.
Probably ran a little long on that one.
Yeah, a little bit. That's okay.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, because we still have to cover, a lot of the other good stuff. I want to ask you to deal with the week and all that.
I know. I don't know that I have one. I read articles looking for tidbits.
Well, you know what?
Boring.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we talk about the one that we got referred by the bank that I sent over to Rick.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Tell me about that one again.
Okay. That's okay. They're referred by the bank because the credit scores dropped because they had health issues, and let's see. And now their income's up quite a bit, but they had their FICO score was down, and they had some late pays because of the health issues a couple of years ago. But they're perfectly fine now. So maybe even had a bankruptcy too, but again, that was because of health issues a few years ago.
Yeah,
and,
that's really the main one.
Yeah. Enjoying yourself?
Yeah.
Kind of neat, huh?
Yeah.
So what happens is I'm saving 4 files.
Yeah.
I send them to the studio.
Sure.
They put it together with the music and the commercials.
Yep.
And then we get a show. And the
Okay.
show will air this Saturday
Okay.
on Talk 910 on the AM dial at
Okay.
noon.
Okay.
Okay? So you can hear yourself and go, is that how I sound? They have a Photoshop. Maybe they could do that on a voice shop. Now you sound funny.
And then when do you post the YouTube?
When that one I might post before Saturday, if I'll save the file right away. It won't have music and commercials. It'll be just like this.
Right, okay.
But everything should be up before Monday.
I think you talked mostly to Rick about that file. Where was it? Because I haven't seen it yet.
It's in the Oakland Hills, and let's see, they have the property's worth $1 million. Oh, okay, here's the deal. Property's worth $1 million. They have a $30,000 first at a good interest rate. The same bank has the second home equity line of 120. They need only $200,000 above that. Technically, it would be a third. Property's worth over $1 million, but nobody's going to do a third.
Is it a consumer purpose?
Yes.
I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah. And I think what we're looking to do is refinance just the second and the third.
Yeah.
Because of the first. Or no, excuse me. We're going to pay off the first. That'll move the 120 in first position because it's at a really good interest rate. So our third will actually be a second.
Yeah, and again, just in terms of why it's relevant, probably don't have to go into the nitties on that, other than they've got, we're working out the details of which loans will pay off. But,
exactly. Well, no bank's going to do a second.
Right, no bank will do a second. And,
Yeah.
and the other thing is the credit scores.
Yeah, exactly.
Why they drop. Medical issues, that's a real
Correct.
common
Yep.
Score impactor.
Excuse me. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
And feel free to ask him questions if you know.
Oh, okay.
If you want.
All right.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, president of Pacific Private Money. When we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question about James Bond. James Bond. George Lazenby only played Bond in one film in 1969. What was the name of the film?
Was that Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Yes, you're 2 for 2 on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah, if I go
Very good.
3 for 3, that'll be first time in years.
You know, you might just get this one. I had to kind of make poor Mark. I was asking him hard questions over the last few weeks. So,
Striking out.
yeah, he's I don't know.
No idea.
No idea at all. Okay, so Mark, give us a deal of the week. First of all, tell us what you do, because a lot of people, we get a lot of new listeners.
So I'm president and broker for Pacific Private Money, also doing business as Pacific Private Money Loans, but we refer to ourselves mostly in the short term Pacific Private Money, located here in the Bay Area, and we are a non-bank lender. We use private capital to fund our real estate loans. Now we don't do personal loans. There's some great websites that you can go to, like Loan Me. I keep hearing that advertisements on the radio, and others that if you just need an unsecured loan, you can find a lot of sources for that. But we are a real estate lender, and there are a lot of people out there, since we formed in 2008, that have not been able to get bank financing. It used to be the old joke about if you fog a mirror, you can get a loan. Well, pretty much all of us know that that's no longer the case. They have this new bureaucracy that the government created, the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and it's a big heavyweight that wields a very strong hammer against banks and other lending and financial institutions over the methodology in which we employ in order to make loans to people. And so at Pacific Private Money, we are regulated just like the banks, not quite as heavily regulated, which is good for our borrowers because our borrowers come to Pacific Private Money because the bank or their mortgage broker said, I'm sorry, I can't work with you on this particular transaction. And it might be because of something about the borrower, or it might be because of something about the property. Sometimes it's both, but it's usually one or the other. And that's the type of scenario we see. Companies like ours, companies like Pacific Private Money, who are private money lenders, are usually a plan B because plan A has failed. We're not the place you're going to come to first. And one of the attributes of companies like ours is that our money is pricier than bank money. So bank financing today, if you've got, if you're the perfect borrower, you can get a mortgage right now at or below 4% for your home. Now on commercial properties and fix and flips and other types of stuff, the bank might charge you 5 or 6%. That's not unusual.
Okay.
Private money lender like Pacific Private Money will typically charge you between 9 and 11%. In fact, we pretty much dial most of our loans right at about 10% for the interest rate. Now, many of our loans are also have what's known as the interest-only payments. Most banks and mortgage brokers don't have those products anymore because they've been regulated out of existence for most consumer loans. But since a lot of the people who come to us are coming to us not for a consumer transaction, but maybe for a fix and flip or a small commercial or something, maybe they want to make investments with the money, they want to pull cash out of property they own. Those business purpose loans we can still make interest-only loans for. So that's a little bit of background on Pacific Private Money and the type of industry that we serve. So the deal of the week. So we've been doing this for a few years, and you're fond of asking me, hey, you got any deals of the week?
I get so excited about this. Is my favorite part of the show. Deal of the week, deal of the week.
Well, well, here's an example of a person that needed to come to Pacific Private Money because their bank said no, and there were actually two facets to this.
And by the way, I heard the story, and you know where the referral came from?
No.
The bank.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
The bank actually referred.
We get a lot of referrals from banks, mortgage brokers, and realtors who are trying to help their client, and many times they don't receive any compensation. Sometimes they're not allowed to receive compensation for sending a client to Pacific Private Money, but at least the client gets served. And sometimes if they can repair whatever situation came up that prevented them from getting bank financing, that referral person will get the business ultimately. In fact, a lot of people come to us for short-term loans as they're working through a credit issue.
Yeah, so it works really well for the banks to refer business to Mark because then ultimately that bank will probably get the business back.
Got it.
Which is
Right. So again, at the end of the day, we're trying to serve the client. Believe it or not, you might think, well, 10% and what, 2 or 3 points, you guys are sharks. Well, not really. Again, if you're not familiar with the what's and the whys, we get, we're in the business of directing the flow of capital for people who have money and are looking for alternative investments where they can get higher yields. And we're directing that flow to people who have a real need for money, and the rate and the fee is inconsequential because the transaction is more important. So again, that situation exists, and it happens every day throughout the Bay Area, the state of California, and throughout the United States. We're actually a growing segment of the banking and lending industry.
All right, so I'm at the age.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
at,
not here.
All right,
What's the deal?
what's the deal? I'm at the edge of my seat here.
So this is a couple in the Oakland Hills who came to us because their mortgage broker and banker said no, and they're in a situation where they have credit that has been impacted negatively by a medical issue that had happened actually several years ago, but we see this a lot. Some of my favorite credit score issues are around medical bills because sometimes you get in a situation where you don't have the right insurance and
it's just a one-time shot usually.
Yeah, right. It usually is. It might have happened over the course of a couple of months. It might have been an accident. But if you're not properly insured, and oh my gosh, even just the ambulance ride could be $1,000. I mean, it's incredible how much money a medical situation can cost. So this couple had scores that were impacted by a medical condition, and we love those. We love to see stuff like that at Pacific Private Money because sometimes those are the best borrowers. Everything else about them is perfect except for that one thing. But the banks, because they're score focused, they just simply can't. You're already out of the box for most banks and mortgage brokers. The second issue they had was they had a first and a second on their home. Tremendous equity. The house was worth a little over $1 million. They had a small first and a small second, with probably less than $200,000 between the first and the second. So lots and lots of equity, but. And they didn't necessarily want to pay off either of them because the rates were pretty good. It's certainly less than what we are proposing to loan to them. However, no financial institution that I know of is going to go in third position.
No.
We're not fans of it. Our investors typically don't like that either. So we're negotiating with them right now to pay off one of the two loans, the one with the higher rate, and we'd be going in second position behind a relatively small loan. And so that rate will, it'll have a little bit higher rate than if they said to us, pay off everything and just give us a new first.
Yeah.
We'll charge a slightly higher rate than we would normally have in order to go into second position. But when you do the math and do the blended rate or the weighted average interest rate, which is basically just a math calculation, it's actually a little bit cheaper for them.
Yeah, they're better off to keep the keep one of
the two loans
at 3% interest and pay you 10 or 11 or even 12%. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the gist of the story. We like loans like that.
Sure.
That's a very very secure in our opinion, because everything else about this borrower looks good. The property look good. There's nothing distressed about it. The only distress, and when I use the word distress, that's typically what we're looking at when someone comes to us, as opposed to a bank or a mortgage company. There's some form of distress in the transaction. Again, it's either some form of borrower distress, which in this case was low FICO scores impacted by an old medical issue, or the property is under some form of distress. We get a lot of deals that come in where construction was started but not completed.
Oh, yeah.
Remodelers who run out of money and lose the project, and somebody else picks it up in foreclosure and they want to finish it, and they find out the bank isn't going to make a loan on that partially completed property. Also, we do a lot of business with contractors who notoriously have poor credit, and sometimes it's just because they have been in the trades their whole life and never really learned how to take care of themselves financially, and didn't put a strong importance on maintaining good credit. So a lot of different reasons. And so anyway, you want more information about how you might be able to get a fast, easy qualifying, privately funded loan for your particular real estate transaction, give us a call. We love to hear loan scenarios. We listen to probably anywhere from 5 to 15 loan scenarios a day via email, or just people who call us on the phone at Pacific Private Money. We can be reached here. Our local number is 415-883-2150, or the easiest way is just to go to the website, pacificprivatemoney.com.
Okay, we're going to cut to our last commercial break. When we do, Mark's got a way for you to earn over 8% on your money secured by real estate loans. And it's very conservative, and I'm very pleased myself. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, we're going to cut to, here's our last trivia question about James Bond. Starring Sean Connery as Agent 007, what was the first Bond movie ever released? The first caller with the correct answer wins a free 3-day, 2-night stay at that Lighthouse Resort. Again, subject to the cleaning fee, of course. Call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. Don't touch that dial. When we come back, Mark's going to show you how you can earn over 8% on your money. All right. I had some lady call. I told Rick, I said, there are people who call for some, I don't know how they're getting my number, but they're calling me. Maybe it's, again, because of the old Equity Bancorp website.
Maybe.
And I'm not even telling you guys about it because it's so ridiculous. Like this one lady, she says, she's brand new in the game, wants to do fix and flip, she's got no money, but she found the deal, she wants 100% financing and split the profits 50-50. I was in a good mood.
I get calls like that all the time.
I was in a very good mood, so I tried to kind of just educate her because I could tell she had a Chinese accent. And I said, well, yeah, exactly, yeah. And it was some deal in San Francisco. It was going to go for auction, and there's like a couple $1 million. Well, she needed a couple million. And I said, think about it from the standpoint of. I said.
So she wanted 100%. She wanted all the money.
She wanted all the money, yeah. But she had the contractors, lined up. Yeah. But she'd need the money for the rehab also. So basically, she was just wanting a job, but she wanted a huge profit. I said, just think about it for a minute. I said, why couldn't I just pay you a commission for finding the deal? Because you're putting me all at risk. Why should I give 50% of the profits? I'd take all the risk. Yeah. She's going, well, I promise I'll do a really good job. And I said, I'm sure you will. I said, now the thing is, I said, if you can find a partner who will put up $1.5 million, I said, I'll be glad to put up the other $1.5 million. I'm speaking on behalf of you.
Yeah.
Because at that point we'd only be 50% loan of value.
Right.
I said, we'll do that all day long. And I said, talk to their friends and family and see if these guys can pull the money together. I kind of get the feeling that ain't gonna happen. Make sure you tell everyone on your Facebook page and all your friends and family to listen to the show.
Yeah.
Susana, that's you.
Are you here in Marin or are you in San Francisco?
Well, I have clients in Marin, in San Francisco,
Yeah.
the East Bay, and even up to Sonoma.
Do you live in Marin?
I live in Marin. Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's a very nice shop. And you can tell she's very nice. And she won't throw all your
How
clothes.
many more minutes
Not
we got?
all your clothes.
How are we doing on
You
time?
know, oh yeah, that's right. I was surprised that she actually let me keep more than my fair
He was
share.
such a baby. There was these couple of t-shirts. If I tell
Certain
you,
t-shirts, you know, you
with
just
holes. I was like,
yeah.
but this is my.
But my
But I
night
go
shirt,
to
I
the gym.
come-
Yeah, my
I go to
night
the
shirt.
gym.
And I go to the gym with this. And this is when I went to college.
I know.
And what about that? And then he's like, what's wrong with that? And I go, Edward, please. This is like 18 years old. It's the fabric, the color is old, no color, but it's soft.
Oh, it's soft.
But it's soft. I said, I'll get you soft.
Yeah.
I can find you something soft.
I know, he even says, I know, he goes to the gym like that. Can you believe it? I said, I'm making sure that no women try to pick me up, and this is the best way.
How long do we have?
We have 8:24. Okay, ready?
Good.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host. I'll be Edward Brown all day, but for the show, I'll be Edward Brown last time. And Mark Hahn is my co-host. Third trivia question about James Bond. Starring Sean Connery as Agent 007, what was the first Bond movie ever released?
Guessing Goldfinger.
No.
Ah,
I have
2 for
no
3.
idea.
You both said the right answer, though.
No.
Dr. No.
Dr. No.
Dr. No. 1962. Okay, Mark, I teased the audience with how they could earn 8% or more by listening to you. What do you got to tell them?
Well, first of all, the news this week was that the stock market, after a 2,000 point dip in beginning of 2015, has now come back up and is now even. Actually, a little bit higher for the year, and of course that's good news. I mean, we're not stock market investors. You and I, Edward, and we've talked about that on the show. So when the stock market goes down, I'm not personally impacted, but I know that a lot of investor clients with Pacific Private Money, we've got over 250 of them. Many of them do diversify. Very few of them are all in when it comes to real estate related type of investment activities or mortgage investing. So, of course, no one wants the stock market to go down. The good news is that we're even or a little bit better for the year to date. Now it's not quite the end of the first quarter, so that actually happened relatively quickly. And although I will say that my concern for people who are stock market investors is that kind of volatility. And of course, you don't need me to tell you that. If you own largely index-based stock investments, you know that the indexes have been largely volatile for many years now, actually. So the good news from my perspective and from our perspective at Pacific Private Money is that now if you were hesitant to maybe redeploy your retirement funds and investments out of stocks, you might have hesitated to do that when the stock market went down the way it did in 2015, because you don't want to be buying high and selling low, right? So now that we're kind of back even Steven for the year, now might be a good time to go in and consider, okay, now that little scary part the last couple of months is over. Now that and again, no one's predicting the stock's going to make a big run at this point. I mean, there's very little economic news out there that would make you believe that the stock market is going to go.
No, so how are people going to? How are you going to show them how they can make more than 8%?
So if you're nervous about the stock market right now, one of the things you might want to consider as an alternative investment is the Pacific Money Fund. Pacific Money Fund is a mortgage pool fund. Sometimes we refer to it as like mortgage investing. We use our member funds to make real estate loans, largely here in the Bay Area, like the loans that we talk about quite frequently on the Best of Investing, typically short-term loans, and our fund has been paying out just a couple of ticks over 8%. In fact, actually last year in 2015, our income investors, those that wanted to get monthly income checks, received about 8.2%, and those who chose to be growth investors and didn't need that got about 8.5%.
And this is basically the kind of loans that you were just talking about in the last segment that are producing enough interest to be able to pay those investors.
And these are not 100% financing. These are not high risk or high loan to value or high LTV loans. These are generally 70% of purchase price or less. In fact, the weighted average loan to value of the 60 loans in our portfolio presently is 54%. It's just a little bit under 55%. So fairly conservative. Again, short-term loans. And so we have quite a few investors at Pacific Private Money, and we're getting new investors all the time. And people have heard our radio show. Gil Gross has been running our ads for us, has been talking about Pacific Money Fund. And again, past performance is not a promise of future results. We always have to say that when we talk about the rate that we're paying out right now. But given that we see real estate being a fairly steady market right now, we're not predicting the next cycle as yet. And so we believe that we're going to continue to see demand for our loan products at around 10%. And at that rate, after expenses, we're able to produce a yield in the low 8s to our investors. So the fund has its own website, so you can go to pacificmoneyfund.com, all one word, of course, pacificmoneyfund.com for more information. And of course, there's only so much information we're allowed to give on a website, so feel free to fill out the little contact form or just call us and we'll send you all kinds of PDFs that go into great detail about how our fund works, the types of loans we invest in, how we pay those yields, and what kind of safety and security features exist to protect your capital.
In fact, to date, there have no losses, as I understand it.
Absolutely, no. We've had no losses in the fund. Now we've done over 110 loans in the fund since we launched it 3 years ago. We've done over 1,200 loans at Pacific Private Money since 2008. We have had one foreclosure, and the property's on the market, and we don't expect it to lose any money on that sale. And so that's just part of it's kind of part of the business model. But still, we have an extremely low default rate, extremely low foreclosure rate. Less than many banks are experiencing.
Yeah, I was going to say most banks would love to have your model.
Yeah, right, exactly. So again, for more information, Pacific Money Fund. We're going to be having regular kind of meet and greets at our new location. We are growing at Pacific Private Money. We're moving into our new office space on April Fool's Day.
There you go.
Friday, April 1st, we're going to turn our phones on to the answering machine mode, and we're going to be moving across the street to a building formerly occupied by Sonoma Bank for the last previous 10 years until that.
What's the address, in case people want to come visit?
So 1555 Grant Avenue in downtown Nevada. We're right across the street from Wells Fargo and B of A, and we got Chase on one side and Citi on the other, and we're not a bank.
I think maybe you should do a leveraged buyout and buy out both of those banks. What time is that get together?
So that one is, well, we haven't announced it yet, so we're actually we'll announce it yet because we're still not exactly sure that it's going to be in April, towards the latter part of April, and it'll probably be around 7 o'clock at our new offices. We'll be able to accommodate probably about 20-25 people at a chance. It won't be one of the larger events that we've had before where we can seat up to 100 people, but this is going to be, it'll be a great one, and we'll announce it shortly.
Very good. All right. Thank you very much, Mark, of Pacific Private Money. And Susana Percik, thank you again for joining us and teaching us how to dress for success.
You're very
Again,
welcome.
StyleRescueBayArea.com. Check her out. All right, we want to give a quick mention out to our friends at Pack Trade Exchange, business-to-business barter. Good job those guys do. Here's our thoughts for the day. Earl Weaver, remember the the manager for the Orioles?
Oh, yeah.
He said, the key to winning baseball games is pitching, fundamentals, and 3 home runs. I like that. And Gerald Ford said, I know I'm getting better at golf because I'm hitting fewer spectators.
All right.
Good man.
Okay.
Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, well, I'm interested. I just took.
Take some notes, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell my husband. This is
Very good.